What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if Tom DeLonge could save Blink-182. Now, this is kind of a discussion also if he would even return in the first place. And so we'll have a discussion, firstly, if he would return. And then secondly, we just did the album review for 9, I believe, yesterday. So make sure you guys go check out that album review. We talked about mainly how I don't like it. So, it's kind of a negative a response to the album, but make sure you guys check that out. And really, that got me thinking. And I listened to it the night before I recorded. So I had kind of overnight to think about, well, what do I want to make for like a second video? And I thought, all right, Blink has gone through a lot since Tom DeLonge left, okay? After Dogs Eating Dogs, and then he was part of that, right? That was the last Blink with him that we got, which I thought was phenomenal. It took me a long time actually to even find it or knew it existed, but that album, obviously very, very short, only a couple songs, but insanely I think one of the better things ever created by Blink-182. I want that again. And then after that, obviously, we got Matt Skiba, and we got California, and now we have 9. And, California, for what it was, I thought it was very good. I would say very good. It was above average. The na-na-nas were a big problem. I think, and we talked about it in the review for 9. The fact that really, for the most part, they couldn't do a full song with just one of them, I think it was a really, really big problem. There are a couple songs. I Built This Pool, I believe, right, is just Mark. So there are a few, but for the most part, a full-length, 2, 3, 4-minute song seems impossible for one of them to do by themselves. And now we get to 9 where literally the formula is set where it's verse 1 with one of them, then chorus, then verse 2 with the other, and then chorus with the same one who did the chorus the first time. That's the formula, and that's the only thing they know how to do. And it gets predictable, and it gets like, okay, no matter how cool this song is at the beginning, I know the other one is going to come in to help the other one out. And under the right circumstance, that works, and they've done that before. It's not like that's never happened. They've done it with Tom before, but at the same time, if you do it for every single out of 15 songs, you do it for all 15, it becomes predictable, it becomes annoying, it becomes like, do you guys know how to do anything else? So, that was part of the review. There's a lot of problems with this newest album. I'd say they're totally going in the wrong direction now. Absolutely. California was like, okay, they're back. They can sell records still. They can be very catchy. They can be that pop punk kind. And, labels, I don't really want to label them as whatever kind of rock band they are. They're a musical group, and they'll do whatever. And they've even said that. They'll do the music they want to do, whatever, okay? I don't really care. I don't care what you want to call 9 or what you want to call California. I know that I want to call them both very good, but they're not. California is good, and then 9 is I'd say average to below average. And that's a problem because and here's the thing, is it average? It's not average Blink. It's way below average Blink. Maybe I should have said that in my review. It's average music. Like, I've heard a lot. You'll turn on the radio, you'll hear a ton of garbage songs, and then you'll hear some really good songs. It's average. Blink-wise, it's insanely below average. I haven't heard an album this plain and this unoriginal since, I'm not actually a fan of their earlier work, like before Enema of the State. I think it's like maybe it's too pure for me. But it's one of the worst things they've ever made is this album. And I don't think I don't know what to say was worse than this. I truly don't know what piece of work they did is worse than this. So the question is, they need a fixing up. They need to turn this around. And Mark seems to just be in the space where he's okay with what's going on, and that sucks. And maybe. And here's the thing. I know he's working hard. I get that this is tough. I get that he's putting a lot of work into it. I'm not questioning his work ethic or his musical ability because he's an insanely talented musician. And so is Travis. There's nothing wrong with Travis and this album. I don't think he really got a chance to do basically anything in it. But Mark, in terms of the creative, whoever had a part of the creative process of making these songs, they should be held to blame for what happened with 9. But okay, 9 is done. Now you look to the future. There's always been talks. He said recently before in interviews that he is going to one day join Blink-182 again. I don't know how that would do with Matt Skiba. I don't know how they would handle that situation. But the thing is, if he comes back, if he were to come back, and I honestly feel like he needs to, and that's the question, is what can get Blink-182 back to where they should be? And should be is totally subjective to you, and I guess it's subjective to them too, because ultimately and here's the thing, they do deserve the right to just make music. They can make, an artist in general, can make whatever music they want. Blink-182 can put out, 15 albums like this. They have that right. They've earned it. They have the money, they have the resources to do it, so they can do it. I mean, there's nothing stopping them. And ultimately, it's just us as fans that have to decide, do we want to continue to support them? And that's all it is. But they can put out whatever they want. So I'm not saying they don't have the right to make a album just like this again for their next album. They can. It's up to us to say that we do or we don't like it. That's our power as fans to support them. If we don't support them, then that sends the message that we don't like the music that you're putting out. It's just how, it's not being mean, it's not being aggressive, it's just how the industry works. So, let's take that though. If we all agree that this album was bad and this album is a definite step back and they need a turn, they need to fix course here, what could fix that? What could actually be brought in, or what element could be brought in that could make them do it? I think Tom is honestly the only thing that could do it. Is he perfect? No. Is he part of some weaker eras of Blink, or the entire history of Blink-182 is not just perfection, right? And bringing him back does cause a lot of, I think, problems probably internally in the band. I don't know how solid Mark Hoppus would be with that. Okay, I know that Travis and Tom have a history too, and obviously Mark and Tom were like brothers basically, but they've gone through a lot, so maybe it hurts the internal dynamics of the band. But at the same time, I think you just need another creative voice and somebody who, I know Neighborhoods was a album that, at the time wasn't the best received thing in the world, but now it's gotten a lot of love. I personally absolutely love it, and I would take a Neighborhoods 2. I would take an album that sounds like it, in terms of like a progressive kind of thing. I would take it. And Tom has said, like, Neighborhoods, Ghost on the Dance Floor, things like that, that's where he saw Blink going. And yeah, does it sound very Angels and Airwaves? It did, but there were some rock songs on there too. I mean, Heart's All Gone is a phenomenal song that Mark did on it, and there's a couple songs that Mark did specifically on that album, okay? Even like B-sides of it, like Fighting the Gravity and stuff. There's plenty of awesome songs on there that are a little bit more reminiscent of old-time Blink-182. They're there. So it's not like you have to completely give up your roots. And let's be honest, if you listen to Nine, does Nine sound anything like Enema of the State or Take Off Your Pants and Jacket? Like, none of that sounds like it, right? So he can't really argue like, oh, I don't like the direction it's going. We have to stay true to Blink-182. Well, Nine, you already didn't do that. And California, to a large extent, doesn't really sound like what you would imagine Blink sounding. So you can't really use that argument. Maybe it would be used internally, but you really shouldn't be able to. I think that's really a cop-out because that's just not what's going on here. So, I get that maybe that's a problem, but I want that. And I think a lot of fans, especially now, are okay with that. I think it's been obviously enough time. It's been 10 years since Neighborhoods. It's fine. Or, I mean, it's been a little less than 10 years, but it's getting there. It's fine, though. People are warming up to that. I think people would be okay if you went that direction. Now, from where they are now, from Nine, if they brought in Tom over the next 2-3 years and they made another album and it was like Neighborhoods, that would be a huge pivot. Nine to Neighborhoods would be huge, would be a massive pivot. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you got to do something drastic and major. I feel like, yeah, they sell out shows. Yeah, people are always going to see them, but they play a lot of their old music in the shows. Mostly, they only play hit songs. And hey, credit to them for knowing what people want to hear. I know a lot of bands sometimes don't do that. They don't care what fans want to hear. They'll play the music they want to play. So, I mean, I do give Blink credit. Like, they know that they're there to hear What's My Age Again and The Rock Show and stuff like that. And so they're going to continue to play it every single tour for the rest of their lives. I get that. Okay, now, can they have a couple of, like, deep cut songs that people have never heard live before? That'd be pretty cool. I would want to see that. But they know who they are. But at the same time, in terms of, like, the internet, in terms of people that are buying their music, I totally think there's a huge split and there's been a huge drop-off. Again, I think they can always sell, wherever they want to play live. But for this, like, people are not happy. You look at the like to dislikes of basically all of their singles that they've released. You look at the reviews for Nine. You look at just fan feedback in general, and it's not good. It's toxic in a way, but it's not necessarily like toxic as in like I think people are fighting. But it's like productive, and I like this. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm not saying like don't be mad at them. Be mad. Be mad. Say that you do not like this music. And people have. So many people have. And that's awesome because ultimately we have to do that. And you see it. and you see it, and that's definitely, I think, to them, it's going to be a problem because they're losing their fans, their diehards. And you could say, well, if you're not willing to stick through them through everything, you're not a diehard. Well, you can pick and choose the music you want to listen to from them. I think that's totally cool. I think Tom could be the fixing thing. I think he could come in and provide a different energy. Say like, what the heck are you guys like? Where did you take the band? Let's think about what we can do good, and let's do that, and let's go back to maybe some of the things that worked in the past. There's, I'm sure, bound to be hiccups, and I think this will happen. By the way, I do think within the next couple of years he'll return to Blink. I truly do believe that. Will it be like pretty? Will it be like the best thing in the world? Probably not. I think they'll have to internally go through some things and just be okay with each other. But bands have done it before. There's been reunions of bands that have been much, much worse. And my favorite band is the Smashing Pumpkins, which went through so much worse than Blink did, and they've reunited for the most part. Their bass player Darcy Retsky didn't come back, but the band itself was like itself imploded on itself, okay, and it came back together after a very, very long time. This is totally. I mean, they're like brothers, so I think they really could do it, and I think that he's honestly needed to bring Blink away from wherever they're going. They need to be grabbed and thrown in the other direction, and I think he's the only thing. No producer, nobody like that. It can't come internally. I think whatever's going on with Mark and Matt, they're kind of like stuck in that zone of 9 of this kind of music. I think they need somebody else to kind of step in and say, okay, turn and face the other way, please, and let's go this direction. I think that, honestly, is what it's going to take, and Tom is the only one, I believe, that can do that. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. Do you think, firstly, he'll ever return to Blink-182, Tom DeLonge? And secondly, do you think he could fix them? Do you think that with him back, they would just go in a wildly different direction and we would get, something else, something better than what we got with 9? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you, as always, for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.